Good morning and welcome to WGN-TV Political Report. I'm Paul Lisnek. Now, in just a few short years, my first guest has felt the ire of property owners across the city. Maybe that comes with his job, but blowback from business and homeowners isn't stopping him from trying to reform Cook County's assessment process. In November, property owners on most of Chicago's north side got their latest assessments. Overall, residential properties saw a 14% increase in value. Everything else rose 49%. A higher assessment can, but doesn't always lead to a large tax hike. And despite complaints, a new study says Assessor Fritz Kage's formula is accurate, or at least it's more accurate than the assessments of his predecessor. Cook County Assessor Fritz Kage joins me this morning to talk about that and more. Mr. Assessor, we're good to see you in person this time.
Yes, Paul, it's great to be back and with your viewers here.
Well, so last time we visited, we reviewed all your office was doing to, get assessments done and away from political influences, and that was then. Well, now we're getting these reassessments for the city, portions of it already out. I've got mine. And so I want to ask you, what kind of reactions and feedback are you getting from individuals and businesses who are seeing these new reassessments?
If there's one thing I've learned since I came into office, it's that hardly anyone understands our property tax system, even the real estate people and policymakers. So it's hard for the average homeowner to understand what happens when your assessment goes up 10 or 20%. What people need to know is actually it doesn't mean your taxes even go up in that situation. And the reason why is that we use assessments to divide up the burden amongst us. And you mentioned that the total tax base is up about 40% in Chicago this year, and that's an important number for homeowners to remember. There will be appeals coming in that will reduce that number, but anyone whose assessment is up less than that base, which is currently 40%, will probably see a lower bill next year, which I know comes as a surprise to a lot of homeowners.
So it's one of many factors. That's the issue.
Yes.
When we get that letter from your office. So you took property values down during the pandemic. Things were bounding a bit. We're still in that pandemic, but should homeowners and landlords get ready to see higher assessments now, regardless of what happens down the line?
Well, let's remember we should separate assessments and bills. Assessments will be going up because we're seeing property values going up, but actually this year was the first year where the average residential property tax bill in Chicago fell. And this is following on a trend in the last 2 years. The average residential property tax bill was up just 1%. And that really broke a trend of many years before where property taxes were rising much higher. And the reason why is we've been making sure that the big properties are more fairly valued, and that's reducing homeowners' share of the burden everywhere. And so in this tax year, even though your assessment might be up, if it's up less than the 40-some% that the whole of Chicago is up, you probably will have a lower bill next year. That's the key thing I want to convey to people.
So commercial owners say your plan was to shift tax burden from the homeowner onto commercial properties. I think you basically said that was part of what you were looking to do. Has that been your plan? And if so, how do you address the fact that commercial owners, who maybe own rental units or been going without rent for all this time, and now they're seeing their assessments go up?
It wasn't so much as a plan as under the state law. My job is to take an accurate picture of the value of all properties, to measure the market value of all properties, whether it's a homeowner, a small business, or big building. And the biggest disparity in our system that we found it from the Berrios administration is that the biggest buildings were chronically undervalued. A study showed that they were 50% undervalued in the city of Chicago on the eve of us taking office. So we've addressed that, and that's what's caused homeowners and small businesses to experience savings from what we're doing, even though their assessments might be going up.
Well, let's talk about a couple of those big ones. You estimated the market value of Willis Tower, or Sears Tower, as some of us call it, about $1.25 billion. That was up 78% from 2020. Aon Center more than doubled to $886 million. Some analysts say you kind of maybe overshot that building. We'll let you say what you do. And the apartments of Aqua Tower, they're up 30% to $95.4 million. That scared a lot of people. Big buildings like hotels, for example, just starting to recover in terms of getting some revenue. And so a lot of the commercial owners say, look, you're trying to fix a broken system, but you might be chasing away investors.
Well, Paul, the key thing is we're supposed to be accountable for estimating market values for all buildings, whether it's a big building owned by a huge corporation or homeowners. And in the past, homeowners' values were estimated about at market value, but these big buildings weren't. And so that's why their assessments are going up. And Crain's Chicago Chicago Business, they looked at the reassessment of downtown Chicago properties using some really advanced data tools, and they showed that our assessments were not only on the money, but could be said to be conservative. And the reason why it was like that is because we're taking into account the effect of COVID. We see the vacancies, we see some of the struggles that they've had, and we're seeing a huge amount of investment activity in Chicago and the suburbs now. We have really a huge amount of cranes building apartment buildings, building industrial buildings. These markets could not be hotter. Office is more of a struggle. We have a lot of excess office space, but this is something you see in New York and San Francisco. This market has a lot to offer the global investors, and we're seeing lots of capital come in. People are buying hotels, office buildings, all of these different kinds of buildings, and capital's flowing, and it's good for Chicago.
You encourage people to appeal their assessments. First to the assessor's office, you're not happy, go to the Board of Review, which, by the way, slashed assessments in suburban Cook, or to the Illinois Property Tax Appeals Board. So a few questions there. First of all, what are people? What is the success level when somebody, maybe on their own, you've told me lawyers don't make a difference in this process, but when somebody comes to your office and says, I'm not happy?
Well, we have appeals in our property tax system in Illinois to be a backstop against, so you have rights so that we're making sure that we're estimating the value of your property correctly. And the data shows that our assessments are within industry standards in some of the first areas that we reassessed for the first time in living memory. So that's good progress. And we're seeing appeals on the trend to be down for the third straight year. But that allows us to focus in on those cases where our assessments are still off the mark. We're about 200 people trying to estimate the value of 2 million properties, and everyone knows more about their homes than we do. So that is why the appeals process exists. And we created online appeals to make it easier for people. It's never been easier. And you don't have to hire a lawyer. We've made it's free. And more and more people are doing it themselves, keeping more of their own money in their pockets. The key thing we're trying to convey, Paul, is a system doesn't get fairer when more people are appealing. If you have lots of appeals where the assessor is not getting it right the first time, it creates a system that's a little more distorted and inequitable. We've really focused on getting it right the first time. And the studies that just came out showed that our assessments are within industry standards for the first time in the north suburbs that anyone can remember.
And I do know there's a sales ratio study that comes out that talks about that. But let me ask you, are you a proponent of the Property Tax Appeals Board? A lot of people think that helps the little guy. What do you think about it?
I'm sure the viewers out there have no idea what the Property Tax Appeals Board is. We have an amazing 4 different ways to appeal properties. This is greater than any other state that I'm aware of. And you can appeal at the assessor's office, you can appeal at the Cook County Board of Review, and those are the 2 best avenues to provide rights for people to appeal. But then you have these other venues, and the Property Tax Appeals Board was extended to Cook County in the dead of the night, 5 days before the end of a session by a Republican General Assembly, and our great majority leader, Barbara Flynn Curry, warned that this would create a superfluous level of appeals that would only attend to the wealthiest property owners and would cause cash to be leaking out of our taxing bodies. And that's what's happened in the last 25 years. At a 20% growth rate, now hundreds of millions of dollars are leaking out of our taxing bodies because the Property Tax Appeals Board is granting really appeals to building owners like Trump Tower, only the biggest property owners, and it stacks more burden onto the average homeowner, the small business that's not in the room being represented. And so we should remove PTAB from Cook County.
And if there isn't PTAB, isn't the only other option at that point after they've worked through your office to file a civil court, and now they're paying fees like $360?
Right, you can get, it's a third backstop against after you've appealed at the Cook County Assessor's Office and the Board Review, and that's very reasonable. That's what you have in a lot of states. But the thing that's disturbing is that the Property Tax Appeals Board is only looking at cases that are 10 years old. There's still all this backlog of appeals for the biggest property owners that can suck cash out of our taxing bodies, reduce the burden of the biggest building owners at the expense of everyone else. And it's kind of not necessary.
Before we lose time, you're up for re-election next year, and you already have an opponent who's called your first term chaotic, but you've got plenty of endorsements as well. I'm sort of curious, do you see this campaign as basically a PR battle, meaning reform might mean higher taxes for some, but that's the price of fixing a broken system?
Actually, this is about, we've addressed the biggest disparities in the system, which are the biggest disparity is the biggest buildings downtown were underassessed, and small homeowners and small businesses were picking up, footing the bill. Hundreds of millions of dollars were taken out of our neighborhoods because of the underassessments of those big buildings. And we've addressed that disparity. All these studies are showing that we're within industry standards, and it's going to be keeping hundreds of millions of dollars in the neighborhoods and people's pockets. And that's why residential property tax bills fell in Chicago this year for the first time in a decade. And in the suburbs, a lot of the bills fell too. In the last 2 years, residential property tax is up just 1% the last 2 years. So addressing that disparity has delivered real benefits for homeowners, not to mention all the benefits of reform, all the new technology, online appeals, exemptions, appointments. We replaced a 40-year-old computer system. We got past automatic renewal of the senior exemption. I'm the first assessor not to take campaign contributions from people practicing before us. And we've become an award-winning leader in transparency and digital tools from national bodies. We never got awards like this before. So this is what the election is going to be about. Is reform going in the right direction? Is it better? Or do we want to have more subsidized values for these big buildings downtown and reverse all these gains?
All right, thank you. And I'm sure we'll talk more about this when election time gets closer and all that. We'll be chatting about that. And I paid my property taxes. Don't check with me.
You can check with Maria Pappas about that one.
My thanks to Fritz Kagi, County Assessor. Coming up next on WGN-TV Political Report, he's planning to leave the legislature after 16 years and countless legislative battles, both won and lost. State Representative Greg Harris joins me after the break to reflect on a career in Springfield and, hey, the road ahead.